Hey guys, it's Duchess, and today, oh my goodness, it's kind of a doozy. One thing that I mostly like to do when I play Minecraft and I'm playing by myself is I like to go into creative mode and I like to build houses. I wouldn't say that I am the best builder in Minecraft. In fact, I am definitely not. I know you can look up some of these amazing builds that people have done and I just cannot compare. But something that I really love to do is I like building villages. This would be my second time building an entire village. The first village I did was relatively larger than most villages that you can find that spawn in a world. I think I did like 14 or 15 houses plus my own house, so 16. But I decided that I wanted to build a castle and a village under the reign of that castle. And so that is what I'm doing here. If anybody was ever wondering why I always say, welcome to my duchy, it's because the territory in which a duchess reigns, a duke or duchess reigns, is called a duchy, which I realize does not have the same ring to it as like a kingdom or a queendom or something like that. But that is the only term out there. So I guess this would be me building my own duchy. This took me so long. I've built castles before in Minecraft, but they've been very small and very basic. And I would still consider this to be a very basic castle, but the size of it is still relatively small, but it's much bigger than any other thing that I have ever built in Minecraft before. And it took a lot of tweaking and a lot of back and forth between where things would go. Basically, the general design is I have these 4 quote-unquote circular towers on all 4 corners of the castle. I say quote-unquote because this is Minecraft, so there's no true circles. Everything is fashioned out of squares, so it's as circular as it will get in Minecraft. So I have these 4 towers, and then I have the main body of the castle. As of right now, where I'm building in the video, I kind of made the 4 towers their own entity and then built the walls off of that. But when I do the inside, which I don't really show because this is mostly just showcasing how I built the outside, I destroyed the walls on the inside so that the towers would be opened to the general area. And I put staircases in the 2 back towers of the castle. Also, another huge mistake that I did not realize that the length of the castle wasn't even. By that I mean I added a doorway later on in the video, and I like doing double doors with castles because it looks a lot better than a singular door. And so I did double door entryway, and there were 6 blocks on one side and 7 blocks on the other side. So I had to completely expand one side of the castle by only 1 block. But considering the shape of the castle and the towers, it took forever to fix that. I think it took me like half an hour, 45 minutes to expand the entire castle just by 1 block. Just because at that point I had already destroyed the inside walls to the towers, so it was just like one continuous building, and it just made trying to fix that very confusing, and so it just took forever. But yeah, I am building a castle for my duchy. I've been trying to do this for a long time. I'm very picky about location. The way I usually like to set it up is I like to have the castle up on a hill or on a mountain or something like that, and then as a form of protection, you know, typically when I do it on a hill, I'll have it where there's like a staircase leading up to the front doors of the castle, but then there's a wall surrounding it, and there are no blocks where you can just walk up randomly. So like I said, this is the second village that I would be building. And the first one, I did it in a snowy mountain location, which was really fun because I really like the atmosphere in the snow. It makes things feel a lot cozier. And so I had the castle up on a high mountain, so it made it harder to reach there. And obviously, like, the villagers kind of have a mind of their own. So initially, I was worried about villagers coming and living in my castle, but I spawned enough villagers for each and every one of them to have their own bed in the village that I built, and so I actually didn't have any issues with that. I did have issues with the trader with his llamas coming up, and somehow he got into the stables that I built next to my castle, and so I had to deal with that. But like, It's a lot different doing this type of playstyle in Minecraft than it is in The Sims, because The Sims, while they do have a mind of their own, you can kind of control things a lot easier. And I'm not saying that Minecraft and The Sims have a similar gameplay that is correct for comparison, because they're very different games. I'm just talking about how I play The Sims versus how I play Minecraft, and how I build in The Sims versus how I build in Minecraft. Villagers, you spawn them and you have no way of gauging them at that point. Typically, after I spawn them, they really like me, and so anytime I come down, they like being near me, because of course I am their Duchess, so they have a lot of I have a lot of favor with my people. But like, if you were to do this in The Sims, you have a bit more control over their personalities, where people can go, because you can lock doors and stuff like that. But it's not really an issue, at least for me, because you're looking for different things when you're playing The Sims versus when you're playing Minecraft. So I just enjoy, you know, even though it's not as interactive when you're playing with villagers, because they don't really interact with you like if you're playing with somebody else on a server, you know, it's still really fun. And so yeah. So at this point, the castle is very much underway. I didn't even talk about, so I started the video the point where the base of the castle was already built, and I just replaced the box or the squares with stone, because I like building castles out of this type of stone, and I just used a completely random building block just to get a basis. But this hill, it's less of a mountain, more of a hill, still relatively high up, but it was completely covered in trees. And so I have hours of footage of me I just took flint and steel and burned down all the trees. I realized that it's not that great for the environment in real life, but this is Minecraft, so there are no repercussions. But I burned down all of the trees, and while I did that, I had to establish a nice base for where the castle would lay, because a lot of the times on hills or on mountains, in order to have a quote-unquote like curvier shape, the mountainous, the hillish shape, it's just basically steps of blocks built up. And once you get to the top, there's not much up there. There's not a lot of land where you can build on. You can build something extremely tiny, maybe like a hut or something like that. But other than that, it is really small. So after all the trees burned down, I had to expand the land, and that took me forever. For one, like I said, I don't like any of the surrounding land to have any place for you to step up and walk freely to the castle, because that is dangerous for the nobility. Can you just imagine me being the Duchess and having my land open for just anybody to walk in? There's not really any security in Minecraft other than having an iron golem, and so I could spawn an iron golem to have roam around, but at least to my understanding, you can't really control where they walk, and so there would be no way for me to have them just around where my castle is. So I like to have my own fortifications, and so part of that is building on a lot where there's at least 2 blocks higher from the lowest walking point. So as you can see, you ever get a glimpse of the side of where I'm building, it's about at least 2 blocks higher than the next lowest point, because nothing can climb up that high except for spiders. And as you can see, I already killed at least 1 spider in this video, and there were so many more spiders because spiders can climb up things. So the only thing you're really preventing is creepers, skeletons. I was about to say skeletons. My little sister says skeletons because she thinks that's really funny. She's 10, so like she knows how to say skeleton the correct way. She calls them skeletons though. So it prevents creepers, skeletons, zombies. Unless they spawn up there, they can't walk up to the castle. It cannot prevent spiders because, like I said, spiders can climb up things, and endermen can kind of teleport, so it won't really prevent them from coming in. But like I said, I've already built a village in a castle before, and I kind of experimented on the types of things that I can do. And people that play Minecraft know that jack-o'-lanterns, and whether they're lit up or carved pumpkins, repel endermen. So with my other village, I just had jack-o'-lanterns all over the place, and I didn't have any issues with endermen. I spawned some cats, so I didn't have any issues with creepers. I spawned some wolves, so I didn't have any issues with skeletons. And there was fire everywhere, and I'm pretty sure fire repels zombies. And even if you do get zombies, they're really easy to kill. And I never spawned any iron golems in my last village, but the way iron golems naturally spawn in a village is through gossip from the other villagers. And like I said, I had 15 houses, and there were only, I would say, 3 or 4 of those houses that were single houses that only had one bed. The rest of them had at least 2. There were a few that had 3, and there was one that had 4. So there were so many villagers, and so obviously they gossip a lot. And so I actually had at one point 3 iron golems spawn because there were so many of them just gossiping and whatnot, talking about the Duchess, of course. But yeah, so I'm not gonna spawn an iron golem because that could be taken care of by my villagers once I spawn them, which I don't do until I'm completely finished with everything. So there are measures that can be taken to make this a safe place for my village. And I know some of you are probably love to play in survival, so, and I know like playing in creative, you don't even have to worry about monsters because they can't kill you, but it's still fun, at least in my opinion. I only play in creative when I'm playing by myself because I think survival is too stressful by myself. If I'm playing in survival, I'll play in a server with my friends. Something that was extremely funny when I was building this. So as you may have noticed as I was building all of this, that there have been creepers on the roof, there have been spiders on the roof, there were skeletons kind of at the bottom, usually at night. I don't know if anybody noticed, but there was actually a skeleton that got killed by a wolf. I didn't spawn the wolf, it's just been roaming around since I started building here, and it killed one of the skeletons. It was really funny. But like I said, I built a door, and so at this point I had never been inside the castle until once I was finished with the doorway. And I got footage of this, but I didn't put it in the video because the video would have been entirely too long. But I walked in and I was barraged with a whole bunch of skeletons, zombies, creepers, and endermen, and a few spiders inside the castle. I'm not exactly sure how they got in there. I'm guessing I accidentally broke a block from the outside and didn't realize that the area was opened, or they got in there after the area was open, but I closed off one of the floors. So there was just so many of them in there. At that point, I was just like, I don't feel like dealing with this. So I killed the enderman first because they kept stealing the dirt blocks and kept opening up the outside. So I killed the enderman first, closed everything up, then I spawned an iron golem. The iron golem took care of all of them. I collected all the stuff even though I didn't need it, and then I killed the iron golem. I just thought that was really funny because I was not expecting that at all. I know that monsters can spawn in open spaces, so my guess is that I had an open space somewhere inside the castle that I didn't know. So I closed everything up, and I just like I thought that the castle was completely closed, so I just was not expecting it. I just thought that was really funny. I may show that in another video because it was truly horrifying and hilarious at the same time. One thing that, well, as you can see now, I kind of got underway, but I am awful, completely awful at roofing in Minecraft, especially with castles, because, you know, castles have different ways that they roof things. You can have spires, you can have whatever the heck I'm doing, and so if you're wondering why one of those little towers had like wood on it, it's because I was experimenting. I looked up a lot of like roofing pictures just to see like what I could possibly do, and I didn't find. I tried to do one that I liked, but I did not execute it well, and I also think just the shape of the towers that I made didn't necessarily fit, and I ended up not using any of the using any of the pictures that I found as a reference, and I kind of just wung it and tried to figure it out for myself, and I think it actually turned out pretty good. I think, yeah, it looks good. And this is the part where, like I said, I built the doorway, and this is the doorway that I built, and then when I walked in, I was barraged with a bunch of monsters, which was hilariously terrifying. But that was honestly quite a beast to build, this whole castle. The interior as well is probably going to be pretty challenging. You know, Minecraft isn't an interior design game, it is a survival / creative building and adventure game, so you know, there's not a lot of things to do for interior design, but I have done stuff before, so I think I can figure it out and it should be fun. So here's the exterior. I'm really excited about it. I cannot wait. If you look at all of this land, this is where I'll be building the village for my duchy. Next time I'll be doing the interior and then we'll get started on the village. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed making it. Have a good day!